Hello and welcome to the Ice Guys. This is the show that takes you into the world of the National Hockey League. Every game, every day, from a betting perspective. With pro sports handicappers, Ian Cameron, Alex B. Smith, and various guests from the world of hockey and sports betting. And now, here's your host, Ian Cameron.
Welcome to the Ice Guys, Monday, March the 9th. Ian Cameron and Perlo with you. Alex B. Smith taking the day off just to recover and a little under the weather. He'll be back hopefully tomorrow with us on Tuesday, but we're here to break down a Monday NHL card, which has a pretty light slate. We have 5 games on tap, including a day game, a rescheduled day game between the LA Kings and the Columbus Blue Jackets. That game starts at 4 p.m. Eastern. And we'll get to that in a moment. Obviously, it was a great Sunday. It was Hockey Day in America. We had games all day, all night, some really good games, and, of course, topped off by one of the best regular season games. And I've been watching NHL hockey for 40 years. Tampa Bay Buffalo's right there as the best regular season NHL game I've ever seen. Now, I'm going to have to take some time to think about it, whether it's the best, but it's in the discussion. It's a contender. Make no mistake about it, for being the best regular season game I've ever seen. We'll save that one for the end. You know, save the best for last is what I always say on this show, Vanessa Williams style. We will save that till the end. We'll go through the other games first. And we started off with a great game. You know, this is kind of lost in the shuffle because of what we saw with the greatness in Buffalo last night. But Minnesota, Colorado to get the day started was a very entertaining hockey game. 2 good teams going at it. Colorado ended up getting ahead 1-0 in the second period by Nathan McKinnon's goal. Minnesota gets a couple of special teams goals, a power play goal from Kirill Kaprizov, and then a shorthanded goal from Nico Sturm to take a 2-1 lead. Nick Waugh, one of the newest members of the Avalanche, ties the game 2-2 midway through the third. The game goes to overtime. No goals take place. And then in the shootout, the Colorado Avalanche emerge with a 3-2 victory over the Minnesota Wild. And that, of course, we talked about it, how figured that game, you know, with the Minnesota overrun slowing down. And sure enough, that did stay under. But a nice win for Colorado. Remember, Minnesota had beaten Colorado in Denver just recently. So very solid job there by the Avalanche getting the win 3-2 over the Minnesota Wild. And another really good performance in net from Scott Wedgwood. I said it the other day, and I'll say it again. I think he's got to be the number one guy moving forward. I think he has clearly put himself in a position where he's got the upper hand. He's in the driver's seat over Mackenzie Blackwood. But that's up to the coach at the end of the day. I know if I was Jared Bednar, he'd be the guy for me. But nice win for Colorado there, and making the task a lot harder for Minnesota to try to track down Colorado for first in the Central Division. It's going to be tough to do that. Boston-Pittsburgh, this was a crazy game. I mean, we talked about Tampa-Buffalo being an all-time epic crazy game. Boston-Pittsburgh it turned into one of these games, too. It turned into a bit of a track meet in the last 2 periods after a low-event first period, which saw Boston get the only goal. A Pavel Zacha power play goal. He added to the lead 2-0. Pasternak then made it 3-0. It felt like Boston was going to just put away a nice quiet road victory, but Pittsburgh said, oh, not so fast. Shinikov power play goal before the second period ended was big to get them within 3-1. And then a couple of goals in 33 seconds from Connor Dewar and Anthony Mantha ties the game at 3. Pavel Zacha gets his hat-trick goal to go up 4-3. Anthony Mantha responds, and to get the game tied at 4, we go to overtime, and Thomas Novak wins it in overtime for Pittsburgh. We'll take it, Pittsburgh. Great comeback win for them. More road woes, more road brutality for the Boston Bruins. This is becoming ridiculous. I said it actually after the Nashville loss. It's becoming ridiculous with Boston on the road. They just cannot find ways to win away from home right now. And it's getting so bad. Like, you're not playing every freaking remaining game of the regular season at TD Garden. If you are going to try to maintain your spot in the playoffs, you're going to have to figure out how to win a road game. And Boston is really having those issues. That's an unacceptable loss. That's a brutal loss. You're up 3-0 in that game. Pittsburgh ties it. You actually go back up 4-3, momentum back on your side, and you can't hold that either. So very, very disheartening loss for the Boston Bruins. That game was crazy, though. You talk about chances. Oh my gosh, there was a glorious. That was a grade A scoring chance bonanza, both sides, and a tough game for both Korpisalo and Shelovs to be involved in because the chances were just flying left and right. Yeah, Korpisalo, look, that's what you got to deal with him. He's not a guy that's going to steal the game for you routinely, and there was times I thought he was kind of abandoned by his team. They gave up too many good chances. I'm not going to really put it all on Korpisalo, but you do need a save every now and then, and he wasn't able to deliver it. But crazy game there, Pittsburgh with the 5-4 overtime win. This was an entertaining game. Again, lost in the shuffle a bit, but Chicago-Dallas and the Blackhawks were very feisty. They jumped out 2-0 early in the first period. Dallas roared back to get 3 unanswered goals, take a 3-2 lead. Chicago with the extra attacker. Connor Bedard ties it 3-3, and then Miro Heiskanen in overtime, allowing Dallas to secure the 4-3 win. I like the over in that. I know Alex liked the over in that game as well. Blackhawks and Stars, talking about how Chicago's got a little bit of a faster, speedier, more offensive-minded lineup now when you take out Dickinson and you take out Murphy and you take out Colton Dach. Those are all good defensive guys. That's the thing we mentioned in that going into for Chicago right now, that less defense, more offense is kind of what we might be seeing with them moving forward. But Dallas escapes with the 4-3 win there. Like I said, Soderblom and net again, not great. He was actually not bad. He did face 31 shots, but still gave up 4 goals. And Dallas comes back, gets the victory there over Chicago. Best bet winner, very easy. Detroit 3-0 against New Jersey. Really like them in this spot. I figured, focused. A good effort from them was required after 2 disappointing home losses against Florida and Vegas, and we saw it. John Gibson was terrific in that, but then he left the game due to an injury flare-up again, and Cam Talbot has to come in and finish the game for the Detroit Red Wings, and then he pitches a shutout the rest of the way. I thought Detroit played a pretty solid road game, but did what they had to do. If you want to, snap out of it and make the playoffs, you can't be losing games to New Jersey, and the Red Wings were able to get it done there 3-0. So no sweat there with the best bet on the show yesterday with Detroit money line cashing pretty easily there in that win against New Jersey. St. Louis, man, I keep talking about I got to start betting St. Louis in spots with good prices. I got to start betting St. Louis in spots with good prices, and I never do. And I didn't again yesterday. I think I was, it's my affinity for my affection for Anaheim did me in here. Like I think if they had been playing anyone else but Anaheim at that price, I would have taken St. Louis. Because look, this is what we see sometimes. Pressure's off. You've got a lot of your forwards healthy now. Holloway's healthy, and Robert Thomas didn't get dealt. And you're playing, some of your best hockey right now. Anaheim did not play well. That is part of the equation. We can't chalk this up all to St. Louis was great. Anaheim was just not really good at all in this game. Husso was. I thought Husso gave them a chance. But like I said, it was definitely St. Louis, the better team last night, and they get a 4-0 shutout win over the Anaheim Ducks. And there is going to be money. They will probably be a team that is profitable, the St. Louis Blues, between now and the end of the regular season. And then the last game of the night, and of course we'll go to back to Buffalo, Tampa after. But Edmonton, let's give them some credit for a change defensively. 4-2 win over the Vegas Golden Knights. 26 shots. Connor Ingram was rock steady, but no doubt a step in the right direction defensively for Edmonton last night in that game. So we'll give them a little bit of that. Being said, Vegas has problems. There's something not right with the Vegas Golden Knights, and that's back-to-back home losses to Minnesota and obviously to Edmonton last night. But then still, you could talk about Vegas is struggling. There's no denying that, but we can't take all the credit away from Edmonton. They needed to step things up a little bit defensively, and I still think you will see at least marginal improvement defensively with obviously Dickinson, Murphy, and Colton Dach, especially Dickinson. Dickinson is a good shutdown centerman. Should, in theory, help this Edmonton team defensively moving forward. So good win there for Edmonton, much needed, and it's not going to get any easier. That's why this was important to win this game, because they've got a gauntlet. They've got the other 2 behemoths in the West coming up, Colorado and Dallas later this week, the Edmonton Oilers. So if you lose this game against Vegas to the team that's struggling the most of those 3, then that would have made the Colorado-Dallas games even more difficult. So it was a very, very important win there for the Edmonton Oilers, and they got the job done. All right, you wanted to talk. You were waiting for it, and now we're going to talk about it. One of the best regular season games I've ever seen. I mean, what did it not have? It had incredible pace, incredible intensity, unreal passion on the ice from both teams. It had scrums and nastiness and vitriol right off the hop. Obviously, a zillion fights, multiple line brawls. There were times when it looked like old school hockey, and it's so foreign these days to the new age of NHL because Perlo and I were talking about this before the show started. We saw this crap happen. Not crap, I love it, but we saw this happen all the time in the 80s. There'd be multiple line brawls. There'd be times where you drop the puck and there's a line brawl. Clean it up, drop the puck, there's another line brawl. Clean it up, drop the puck, there's a fight. Clean it up, drop the puck, there's a fight. And it's just a constant cycle. And it takes forever to finally get to playing the game, playing hockey. And we saw all of that last night in the Buffalo-Tampa Bay game. All that was missing, you're right, was Ukko-Pekka Luukkonen picked a pack of pickled peppers, UPL fighting with Johansson at the other end of the ice. What's really the only thing missing was a goalie fight in that game. We're going to queue up the highlights of that game. It's a nice little highlight pack that the NHL put together of this game. We'll have it, playing in the background here. But there we go. We'll pop that up. There it is. I mean, it was just such an incredible game. We'll just have those highlights rolling in the background. But, and you know what also made this game amazing? Obviously, all the fight. Where do we start with the fights? Obviously, look, I think the main theme that I take away from all the violence on that ice was there was clearly a target that the Tampa Bay Lightning put on the back of Rasmus Dahlin. They targeted him. They singled him out. They said, "We think you're soft. We think you have no backbone. You have no ability to maybe defend yourself. We know you're the captain. We're going to go after you." And I thought, all things considered, Dahlin did the best he could trying to defend himself. And I thought he did a pretty good job, going against that narrative that, he needs his teammates to defend himself. I thought he hung in there with Darren Radish, very early in that game very well, all things considered there. But no doubt the Lightning targeted Rasmus Dahlin, and they made a point. That was clearly a game plan early, that we think we didn't like the Buffalo. First of all, it goes back to Buffalo punking Tampa down in Tampa recently. They put the boots to the Tampa Bay Lightning down there. And early in that game, you could tell Tampa Bay says, we're going to get physical. We're going to get nasty. We're here to tell you, you want this division? You want to take it from us? You're going to have to go through us to do it. And we're going to set the tone physically. And I thought from a Buffalo Sabres standpoint, that's why this team is different this year. They did not fucking back down. They had each other's back. They stuck up for one another. Dahlin against Radish, even when Radish was the aggressor there, he started swinging. He didn't just take it. He didn't just take punches. He started swinging. He started getting back to it, and responded and started to throw back toward Radish. I think that was important, obviously. And I love seeing the likes of a Peyton Krebs, dropping the gloves, which is not necessarily his thing, against a guy like Brandon Hagel, who does that a lot more routinely. That was great to see. You had obviously multiple. You had Kesselring go at it with Chernak. You had Beck Malenstein go at it with Corey Perry in that one. So, it was just unreal tension, unreal physicality, all the fights and all the line brawls. And then, of course, was the incident with Hagel and Dahlin in the second period where, Hagel just lost his mind there. He just ends up, he was not, he said, you're good. He obviously wanted Dahlin to drop the gloves. Dahlin was hesitant. And at that point in time, and then of course, Hagel just decided, I'm going to take it on myself and start chucking. And he just started throwing punches at Rasmus Dahlin. And what I loved is that the moment he started throwing those punches at Dahlin, who was defenseless because he wasn't going to drop the gloves with Hagel at that moment in the game, everybody flew in there wearing that Buffalo Sabre jersey. Everybody got in there and said, "That's our captain. Fuck you guys. You're not doing that. We're not letting that go. We're going after you. You're not touching our cap. You're not, punching our captain upside the head multiple times like that. and going to get away with it scot-free. Everyone ran to his defense. Everyone got after Hagel there right after that incident. That was great to see. We have come such a long way with this Buffalo team. Remember when they were getting excoriated for just standing around, doing nothing, doing fuck all, when Tage Thompson got just hit, got his brains just crushed in a big-time open ice hit, and he was laying there, and nobody did a thing about it. Remember that? And everyone went crazy talking about, oh, what a gutless team. What kind of a team is this? Tage Thompson, one of their best players, he's laid the fuck out right in the middle of the ice, and everybody just standing around doing nothing. What kind of a team is this? How do you have a look like that? Do you have a team that makes themselves look like that? Where one of the best players on the team, and you're just standing there, no response to the player that hit him. I remember it was a game against New Jersey, and nobody did anything. And then just to contrast that with what we saw from the Buffalo Sabres last night, with them all it was like a pack mentality, all going after Brandon Hagel when he was punching at Rasmus Dahlin. What a different mentality. Clearly, this team has gotten it. They figured it out. They know that if we're going to be a team in the true sense of the word, not only be a great team on the ice, but have great culture and a great dynamic inside the dressing room, we have to stick up for one another. We have to have each other's back. And that was something that was missing that night. And it is something that obviously we saw from Buffalo yesterday in that game. So the fights, the brawls, all of that was crazy. And that's not even talking, Perlo, about the goals and everything that was going on there, where Buffalo, with all this penalty issues that Tampa had, and they made Hagel pay, by the way, for that, because they scored on the power play right after that, Buffalo. But Buffalo goes up 3-0. Tampa Bay cuts the lead to 3-1. And then 3-1. That was a big goal for Tampa Bay, but Buffalo had kind of made Tampa pay with the power play right after the Hagel-Dahlin incident. Then Tampa scored to make it 3-1. Corey Perry, by the way, don't look now, back-to-back games with a goal since he's joined the Tampa Bay Lightning. But Alex Tuch with a short-handed goal, 4-1. And then, of course, all of a sudden, Kucherov on the power play, the former Sabres, Zemgus Girgensson, J.J. Moser, 3 unanswered goals at the end of the second to tie the game 4-4. And then in the third period to start it, all the momentum was with Tampa, and they score twice in the first 6 minutes, 6-4, and you think, oh boy, if they've taken over, it's done. And I thought it was done. Okay, and I can't tell a lie. I can't fabricate things. I thought this game was done, finished, when it was Tampa Bay 6-4. I'm like, they got all the momentum. Buffalo's shook. For the Buffalo Sabres to still just find a way and not give up on that. It has been so easy mentally to give up on this game. 6-4 down when we had a 4-1 lead at one point, and they've just scored 5 unanswered goals. So easy to say, you know what, we just blew our chance. We just blew it, against this team. But they didn't do that. We saw Sam Carrick respond and end up making it 5-4. Hagel comes back, makes it 6-4 for Tampa Bay. And you think at that point it's over at that point in time. But it wasn't. And then, of course, you got the Dahlin goal that got them back within one. 7-5, I should say, was the Hagel goal. 7-6, Dahlin. Jason Zucker scoring again. The tying goal, 7-7, with about 5.5 left. Tampa takes an ill-timed power play. Again, it's not just the penalties you take, it's when you take them. That's a bad time, Perlo, to take a penalty when Buffalo scored twice to make it 7-7 late in the third. Tampa takes a penalty, and on that power play, Josh Doan ends up getting the eventual game winner, and Buffalo hangs on at the end, finally digs in defensively just enough at the end to escape with an 8-7 win in an all-time classic, an all-time NHL regular season classic. And we begin Monday, March 9th with the Buffalo Sabres alone in first place in the Atlantic Division, now leading that division by 2 points over the Tampa Bay Lightning. Incredible game, incredible atmosphere. The Sabre fans deserve so much credit. That building was packed. It was loud. They were on fire. They were electric for that game. And it's a reminder that when Buffalo is a good hockey team, the Sabres are a good hockey team, that building is as good as it gets as far as an environment. and an atmosphere, and we saw that. And one last thing, and then Perlo, I'll hand it to you at long last. We all miss Rick Jeanneret. We all, in the bottom of our heart, in the pit of our hearts and stomach, and we want Rick Jeanneret. We wish he was still here calling Sabres games. He would have just been at his absolute peak calling that game, calling that insanity last night between the Tampa Bay Lightning and the Buffalo Sabres, and we miss Rick Jeanneret to this day. But I'll say one thing about Dan Dunleavy, who is currently the play-by-play voice of the Buffalo Sabres. That's the best game he's called. He was terrific. He was not good. He was great on the call. Great. And a lot of Sabre fans tweeted and posted comments on Twitter to Dan after that game saying, that's the best game you've done behind the microphone since taking over for Rick Jeanneret. And look, this guy's in a lose-lose situation. He's taken over for Rick Jeanneret, an all-timer, beloved in Buffalo, 50 years doing it behind the microphone. No one would want to fill those shoes. It's impossible to fill those shoes. But I thought Dan Dunleavy, kind of arrived last night as, okay, you know what? We miss Rick. We wish he was still here calling the games, but Dan's our guy now as the voice of this team. And he made a great account of himself last night. Dan Dunleavy calling that game. I thought he did an outstanding job. I think it probably was the best game. Remember, Dan Dunleavy has not called many meaningful, impactful, big-time Buffalo Sabres games for the last several years because they've been shit all these years. So he hasn't had the opportunity to call big-time, important games like that. And obviously he's going to have a chance to call a lot more of those games the rest of the season. So hats off, tip of the cap to Double D, Dan Dunleavy. I thought it was a great call from him last night on the Buffalo television broadcast. All right, Perlo, enough of me. Finally, let's get to you. Your thoughts on that game and everything else on Sunday.
I got to finish up here at 3, so I'll keep it quick. But I got the impression early in that game, the Tampa wasn't really worried about winning this game. I don't know what Dahlin did in previous times, but it's not just about you're soft or whatever. Dahlin has a way. He's one of the sneakiest kind of dirty players out there. He did something. And I think they were just basically sending a message that, okay, whatever, this is a regular season game, but whatever happened, we're going to put our muscle on you. We're going to tell you you're not doing that again. It's a really good chance there's a possibility they play Buffalo in the playoffs down there, and they want to send a message that we're not taking anything from you. And I thought Buffalo, like you said, I mean, this is not something Buffalo of past couple of years here would have been doing at all. It's been they've done a really good job there, like you said, of building a culture now. And I want to say something a little under the radar. That pickup of Carrick was better than I even really. Him on the ice kind of brought that almost like Kachuk bravado. He had a smile on his face the whole time. You can tell he's just one heck of a character.
Great scrap with him and Sabrin. I didn't mention that.
Yeah. He took on Sabrin, and he's just one of those guys that'll bring you into the war. And Buffalo hasn't had much of that in the past. And it was a great job for them to pick him up. But great job by Kekalainen to get guys like Doan, these guys that are building this great culture. Tuck would look like pretty fierce out there. This is a team that's got balls now all of a sudden in one season. And more than that, they're playing just
They did not take one step back. They did not back down 1 inch from that Tampa Bay team last night.
Not one. And they did it sort of almost with a smile on their face. That's what I like more than anything. It's one thing to get all frustrated and, you get the Evander Kanes that finish the series and won't go shake everybody's hand and get all butthurt about it. It's another thing to do it with a smile on your face. If you look at Florida Panthers the last couple of years, they'll go this way and they'll do it with a shit-eating grin on their face, happier than hell to do it. And I saw that with Buffalo last night. That's really awesome. That is what hockey is all about. You talk about back in the days when this used to happen on a more regular basis, but we talked about it before. And you talked about it after. This did happen on another regular happen more on a regular basis. But there's one thing I do have to say. That game back then didn't have the speed that this game does. If there's one thing we really appreciate here is the talent level and the speed in today's game. And then you throw in the fisticuffs and all the stuff and that kind of intensity and compete. It's a beautiful game. It just makes it. I think it's actually better in a lot of ways for that matter. For that reason, Wayne Gretzky himself said the talent you're seeing now is nowhere near what we were back in those days. He said it himself, and it's true. These guys are faster, stronger, and that game showed all of it. And it was beautiful to watch. It was a great game. That's about all I'll say about that. The other games, I'll just tap into a few things that I found interesting. You're talking about the Bruins on the road. That's really where their depth starts to hurt them, their forward depth. I mean, their third and fourth lines are really tough up against other teams' top lines. They can protect it at home, and they've got a lot of heart. Bruins still got a lot of heart, but there's not much depth in that lineup, which really burns them on the road. And possibly, they'll end up falling out, which I kind of hope because I got Ottawa to make the playoffs. But it's something they're going to have to take care of in the offseason, and I don't really think it's going to change. That Avalanche Wild game is really good, too. That was an excellent game back and forth. I thought Avalanche carried most of it, but I mean, the Wild did have a lot of shots on there, and they kept in the whole time and made it. It was a really good game. Overall, watching that game, I still say Avalanche is a class of that West. It's going to be pretty hard. They're a wagon. They're probably gonna roll. Blackhawks Stars is something that we'll get into when we get into the games. I think is when you have teams that have nothing to play for, you're going to have situations like this where they'll come back or they'll get up early or something like that. They're playing loose. The shooting percentages go up, and that's the reason why I like the over just like you did. It was my biggest play yesterday was the over and the Stars team total over. Had the Wings like you did for all the reasons you said. Messed up on the Blues. I don't know what I was thinking because the Ducks coming off those two big Colorado-Montreal games, it was silly for me to even put a dime on the Ducks there. And sometimes you just look back and go, what were you doing there? And the Oilers, Golden Knights, I bet them that plus 2,000 to miss. We'll see if it happens. I mean, I didn't really think of it.
And the first time in 13 Oilers games. Yeah, the first time in 13 Oilers games below 7 goals total for the game. So the streak ends.
Yeah, I'm not going to be straying away from the overs still after that game. Doesn't matter. But that's what I get from that. It was a great night. And let's get into the card.
All right, good stuff. And Perlo's got a 20-minute. We got to get him out of here in 20 minutes. But what we'll do, Perlo, is if we don't get through every game before that time, we'll just right before the top of the hour, we'll run through the rest of the games just with your thoughts, and of course, we'll get your bargain bin and best bet before you get on out of here. No problem with that. One last thing to note about yesterday. I have to put this up now. If you're listening to the podcast, you won't see this. Everyone talked about how whatever photographer in Milan, Italy, took that photo of Jack Hughes after winning the gold medal for Team USA and scoring the game-winning goal with that photo of him with the bloody, the missing teeth and the bloody teeth area, and then of course the American flag draped over him after winning gold. They said that's one of the best photos ever taken, especially hockey. I would rival it with this photo taken of the Hagel and Krebs fight.
Cool, yeah.
And I'm going to put it up on the screen right now. This is that's as good as it. Look at that picture, man.
Oh,
they say picture says 1,000 words.
Yeah.
That photographer just, maybe took the shot of his life right there.
Yeah.
Of his career, getting this still image here of the mayhem and the carnage last night in Buffalo. Between the Lightning and the Sabres. Brandon Hagel and Peyton Krebs were involved in this one. And that's a great photo. That's a great picture, and I know it's making the rounds on social media, but just a little sign of just the absolute insanity we saw in Buffalo last night. How good is that picture? Holy mackerel, it's
I'll
excellent.
bet you he was so like when he looked at that, he's like lotto ticket, unbelievable. He must have been so happy that he had pulled that
Yeah.
off because that is fantastic. Yeah,
He got it
that'll
at the
go.
right time, especially when you see Hagel, with the struggling to get out of the way, facial expression, and the Peyton
Yeah,
Krebs, like, I want to fucking kill this guy, facial expression on the other side of it. It's a great photo, man. You talk about just timing it right, just hitting that snap button at the right moment. He did that there with this picture. Great stuff there, Hagel and Krebs from the game last night. Hopefully we got some great stuff in mind for this Monday NHL card. It is time to break it down, and we will begin with LA and Columbus. Right now we've got Columbus minus 145, home favorites, 6 the total. Note the start time. This is an afternoon game, 4 p.m. Eastern in Columbus. This is rescheduled because of a snowstorm, which canceled the game that was supposed to happen earlier this season between these two teams. I'm on Columbus here. That being said, it's a situation where all of a sudden we've got the number has climbed a little bit. This was minus 120 to minus 125 with Columbus. It's up to minus 145 now. I still like Columbus. It's getting a little expensive now at minus 145, but I think it's a situational advantage for them. They've been at home since Saturday. Why does this thing keep disappearing here? Hold on. What's going on? I'll have to figure out why this is, but all right. Anyway, yeah, LA and the graphic just magically keeps disappearing here, but anyway, we'll get that back up. But yeah, I mean, it's a scheduling advantage for Columbus. They've been home since Saturday. LA's traveling, obviously, from the West Coast after losing to Montreal, a heartbreaker to Montreal. They deserved a better fate. I guess the biggest concern is this team's played hard under DJ Smith, but hard's only gotten them to 1-2, in the 3 games since the coaching change. And if you're Columbus, you're going to be frustrated that, you lost to Utah, although I think Rick Bowness alluded to it after the game. You're very thankful that your team showed great resilience and no quit, because you were down 4-2 in that game in the third period, and you got those 2 goals to tie the game and get a huge point. So even though they lost that game, to be able to get a point out of that was significant. So yeah, I took Columbus. I got it at minus 130. That price is gone. Minus 140. I still like it. Lean that way for sure. I like this spot for the Jackets. I'm going to sprinkle on over 6 pregame, but I'm going to wait for a 5.5, and we'll bet over 5.5 live, because I'm still riding the Kings overs. 3-0 to the over since the coaching change. I am kind of worried this is a spot where Columbus might try to tighten it up after giving up 5 to Utah. So we're going to temper our enthusiasm a little bit with the Kings over. I don't like it nearly as much as I did the last few, but a little over 6 sprinkle pregame, and I'll add 5.5 live if it shows up, plus Columbus money line in this one for me. Perla, what do you think here, LA Columbus?
Yeah, I'm still rolling with those LA overs. I'm going with my theory. Not as much of a favor of it here because it's kind of a day game. Columbus has been playing better defensively. I have my finger on maybe Columbus team total over, because if it is, it's probably them that's going to be getting the goals more than LA. But I don't think it's going to change here. I still say DJ Smith is not really a good defensive coach. It's all about, and he says it himself, he wants offense. So I got minus 135 for Columbus, and I took that. But what I liked more, and I got minus 126, is I like the first period with LA coming back, coming from the West, playing a day game, time change, all of that kind of stuff like that. And Columbus is 9-1-1 on first periods in their last 10. So, and LA has never been a good first period road to, or hasn't been this year anyways. So I like Columbus first period and a little bit on the puck line as well. I got Olivier and Garland as some goal props there if you want to throw those out.
All right. As far as my props, I'm riding the 2 players here that are one for each team that have scored now in back-to-back games. Alex Laferriere for LA. Matthew Olivier has scored in back-to-back games for Columbus. So we're going to take Laferriere to find the back of the net for the Kings. And you can get him just, I don't know if there's 300 out there with him. I think it's just shy of that price, but still, plus 290 you could get with Laferriere and Matthew Olivier, 2 games in a row with a goal. Plus 810 is out there on him. And a couple other books have plus 550. But there's one book that's got, 810, huge price. I'm definitely Mason Marchment back from injury recently for Columbus, and he's picked up right where he left off. I think he's got 8 goals in 9 games is what I'm seeing since he joined Columbus in that trade with Seattle. So obviously he's been really strong. So Mason Marchment, Scott Lawton. I'm going to dabble with Scott Lawton too, just because he scored in his debut. I thought he had a pretty good game in his LA debut against Montreal. So those are some of the props there for me in that one. Again, note the start time. Make sure if you're betting this game, you get your bets in before 4 p.m. Eastern. All right, the rest of the games are at night. Calgary, Washington. We've got Washington minus 190, home favorites. 6 the total, shaded to the under. 5.5 it is at some spots here with the Flames and the Capitals. Washington losing to Boston 2-1 on Saturday. They'll be looking to bounce back here against Calgary, but it's a Washington team that's now lost 3 in a row. Offense has gone completely dry. 4 goals in those 3 consecutive losses combined. Not exactly what you want to see. And right now, Washington is not a team I want to lay minus 190 with. It's just, it certainly could be a bounce back spot. It's certainly a team they're capable of beating. Calgary had lost 4 in a row before that big upset win against Carolina, 5-4 at home on Saturday night. So it's a nice bounce back situation here for Washington after playing Montreal, Utah, and Boston. And when you look at those 3 losses, Montreal, playoff team, Utah, right now in a playoff spot, Montreal right now in a playoff spot, Boston in Boston where they never lose anymore, at least not lately. So it's not like they suffered a bad loss, Washington. So I could see them bouncing back here and winning this game. But with them struggling offensively, I don't know if they're going to do it comfortably or easily. One thing I think you're going to see from Calgary is you're still going to see effort from this group. I have liked their effort, but even though they haven't always gotten the results, Logan Thompson confirmed in net here for the Washington Capitals. Devin Cooley confirmed to start here for the Calgary Flames. One thing to note about Devin Cooley is that he has given up 2 goals or fewer in 6 of, 6 of his last 8 starts. He's given up 2 or less. So, he's been very, very, very solid for them. He's given the Flames a chance to win. Most starts he's been in between the pipes, 2.27 goals against average, 923 save percentage. And then on the other end, Thompson, I'll tell you what, he was the reason they still had a chance to beat Boston on Saturday. That game's not 2-1. That game is not within reach for Washington without Logan Thompson. I thought he played a really good game. So I kind of lean under with Calgary, Washington. I'm going to sprinkle on the draw, though, in this game. I don't think this is going to be an easy game necessarily here for Washington. When you can't score, how do I trust you to win comfortably? And I don't right now. I don't know if I could go the distance and take Calgary plus 170 with Washington stepping down after, despite losing 3 in a row. This is a step down. Montreal, Utah, Boston, they're all better teams than Calgary. But, they're not scoring right now, and I could see Calgary giving them a game. So I lean under, and I do think the draw is worth a sprinkle here. And again, with Calgary being out west, Washington's not going to pay much attention to them getting any points out of this game. Perlo, what do you think here? Flames, Capitals.
I got Washington minus 1. I think they're going to come correct in this game. It's just that it's not like they haven't been playing terrible. The trade deadline and Carlson leaving just feels like a bounce back spot. Not my favorite. Like, I could see the draw. That's why I'm going minus 1 on it. But more than anything, you already mentioned it. I like Devin Cooley over 26.5 saves here. If Washington is, this is one of those situations, like you're saying, Calgary will play hard and they've got nothing to play for, so they're loose. Washington will probably be playing tight, and they have been shooting a lot. And the Flames are like 3rd in the league for shots allowed or something like that. So I think Cooley's going to see a lot of rubber today. So I like Devin Cooley over shots. Probably
Over
my
saves, you
favorite
mean.
bet.
That makes sense. I like that goal prop. And by the
Over
way, do you
saves,
know
I
his
mean,
goals
saves.
saved above expected? They're like double digits.
I
Like
know
we're
he's
talking
fantastic.
Devin Cooley being one of the better goalies in that category this season in the NHL. That's how solid he's been.
Yeah, I like it. I like that a lot, and I like Chychrun over 3.5 shots. When Carlson got injured earlier in the year, Chychrun just went over, and now he's gone. And he went over last one. It was a premium the last time they played, and I'm going to be going with it again here. Chychrun over shots. Also, a little bit on, for some reason, Calgary's a terrible road team in second periods, and Washington's really good. So I like that where you can get rid of the juice a little bit, and I'm taking Washington's second period puck line for a little bit as well.
All right, there we go. Good stuff indeed. As far as not too much for me in the prop market in this game, although I am interested in a couple of players here as far as Calgary. Or actually, let me just see what the lineup was. Hold on. Actually, it was Morgan Frost because he's actually picked things up. Blake Coleman scored last game. He's now on the second line. Remember, Kadri got dealt, and also Uyghur on the back end obviously got dealt at the deadline for the Calgary Flames as well. And it looks like now, as far as their, it's interesting is that last game, 5 forwards were on the power play on the number one unit for Calgary, and it looks like the only defenseman that got onto their power play units last game was Zane Parekh, the young kid, and he was on the second power play unit for Calgary. So that's something to keep in mind. For Washington, PLD is someone that's picked things up a little bit of late, so I don't mind that. But like I said, this is a game where I wouldn't be shocked if there's not as many goals as people think. All right, Rangers and Flyers. We've got Philadelphia minus 135 home favorites, 5.5 the total here in this game. I'm going to go over by Fecta here, Rangers and Flyers. Over 1.5, over 5.5. I think I have to trust. God, it's not easy to trust them offensively sometimes, Philadelphia, but this Ranger team is a nightmare defensively right now. And I mean a bad nightmare for them. Like they're atrocious right now defensively, the Rangers. Come on, Philly. I see over 3 at minus 115. I'm going to take that over 3 team total on Philly, minus 115. I know this Flyers team can be sketchy offensively sometimes, but this Ranger team is a dead nuts over team. You watch them now in these last 3 games, Columbus, Toronto, New Jersey. They're giving up way too many good chances. They're breaking down left and right in the D zone. 5 goals allowed to Columbus. They only gave up 2 to Toronto, but they gave up tons of chances there. And then the 6th spot against New Jersey. And I don't think you can go too crazy about them only giving up 2 against Toronto because Toronto's offense has been in the tank lately. So, like I said, I think this is an over by Fecta spot for me. It has to be with the Rangers right now because that's just the kind of games they're playing. And they're actually starting to score now, so we'll give the Rangers a little credit. They have scored 3 goals plus now in 4 straight games. Now, they will face Dan Vladar here, who has been pretty solid lately for the Philadelphia Flyers. He did give up 3 goals against Pittsburgh, but the Flyers were able to win that game. Let me just give a quick look versus the New York Rangers, if I can. Let me just give the quick numbers here. Dan Vladar versus the New York Rangers. But I know Pittsburgh was not one of the teams he had better numbers against. The Rangers, let me see. Actually, he does have pretty good numbers against the Rangers. But overall, the numbers have been really solid. So I guess that's the big fear. Can the Rangers contribute? That's kind of why. Series history says over. The Rangers' pace of play, style of play right now says over. That's why I'm on the over by Fecta. But I feel like I want to have Philly team total as part of it because this could be a game where Philly gets theirs, maybe not necessarily the Rangers get theirs, right? So could it be 4-1? Could be. But I think Philly gets their goals. They should because the Rangers are just a disaster to me right now. When I watch them, they have no structure. They have no foundation defensively to lean back on right now. So that's what I'm going to go with here. Philly team total over and the over by Fecta. Perlo, what do you think here? Rangers, Flyers.
I have a tough one with this one. Again, Vladar is 20.5. That seems low. I think the Rangers should get over 20 some shots on them. But I like to draw. I think it's going to be whoever gets up, whoever goes up, whoever gets down.
Rangers are playing hard. Like even in the Jersey loss, that was close
draws,
for most of it. Yeah.
I'll take that bump kid up on the top line for plus 500. But couldn't get a really good read on it. My initial thinking was this would be an under, but then I don't like the under because neither team is going to see that. The Rangers have been playing overs, but Rick talk, it's still going to be defense. So I'm having I'm having a tough time with that game. I do like the draw, and I like that Vladar over saves.
That's also why you're getting a 5.5 total with the Rangers right now because it's Philly. Because they're playing Philly. So I feel like I still think we've got value to take advantage of that. Yeah, now we do have some strong draw history here, so I don't mind that look either. 2 of the last 3. Rangers have gone past regulation 3 of the last 5. Philly's gone past regulation in 5 of their last 9. So, the draw's probably got a little potential here in this game as well. There's not really much I did here as far as the goal props. I will say, though, it's odd. Will Cooley and Gabe Perreault for the Rangers are who I'd look at on their side.
Oh, forgot about Perreault.
Gavrikov has scored in 3 straight games. I got to imagine that's not going to continue for much longer. But, I mean, if you want to ride the wave, he's plus 750. And like I said, he has scored in 3 straight games for the New York Rangers from the blue line. So if you want to ride the wave, you can. Connor Sheary with 4 goals in 5 games versus Vladar. Yeah, makes sense. And plus 500, and he's going to get some power play time too. So that's definitely something worth keeping in mind for sure. All right, Utah and Chicago. We've got Utah minus 210 road favorites, 6 the total here in this game. Now, with Chicago right now, we've talked about it. They're a weaker defensive lineup now after trading away Dickinson, Murphy, and Colton Dach. There's no doubt they're a faster team. They're a weaker defensive team, and they probably have a little bit more offensive potency since those deals were made as well. It looks like tonight Vitek Vanacek getting the start for Utah. Spencer Knight is still out with that illness. He did not travel on the road trip to Dallas. They are back home now, but he's still no good to go. Still dealing with that illness, and they're not starting Soderblom again, so it will be Drew Commesso getting the start here for the Chicago Blackhawks. His 3rd appearance this season for this team. He started against Nashville the last time we saw him, and he was terrific in that game. Gave up, had a 36-save shutout against the Predators back on January 10th, but he also did start the night before against Washington, and they lost that game 5-1. He gave up 5 goals. So we've seen one exceptional start from Commesso and one not so good start. But clearly he improved from start 1 to start 2 because the first start was the one where he struggled. And then obviously he was a lot better in the second start when he shut out the Nashville Predators. So it's going to be interesting to see how this plays out. This is my game that I have a hard time. Chicago's a team I want to bet overs with right now. A lot of that was Soderblom in the equation. Commesso, they're going to want to maybe play hard for him, pay more attention defensively a little bit. He did have a shutout, 36-save shutout the last time we saw him start in between the pipes for the Blackhawks against the Nashville Predators. So this is a game where pregame I'm going to probably stay away. But my pregame lead right now, Chicago is another team. It's over or pass with their totals, but as of now, I passed on this one. Perlo, what do you think here? Mammoth Blackhawks.
This is a revenge game. Chicago just beat the crap out of Utah a while ago, not too long ago. I think Utah slams here. I took them -1.
They're undefeated on this road trip. I know I ain't betting against them.
Yeah, I know it has been a long road trip too, but I think the Blackhawks are coming in a little bit satisfied as well too. I think Utah's going to win this. I took them -1, not for a lot, but for a little bit. Again, the total with me is a little funky as well. I wish Alex is in. He knows more about the Camesso and the goaltending and stuff like that. It's weird here because it's he's playing for a contract. He could go out. Utah has never played against that. We see that a lot when you've got these young goaltenders or goaltenders they haven't seen before. It takes a little while for them to figure it out. So I'm just going to take Utah -1, and I got to get going here. So I'm going to give you my rest of for the Canucks. I'll tell you what they
Let me just get the graphic up on the screen and tell people, Perlo, what the line is. But yeah, Perlo's got a run, so we'll do Ottawa, Vancouver with him right now. Ottawa -220 road favorites. The total's pretty much 6.5. There was 6s at one point, but those 6s are gone. We're seeing 6.5 with the total right here, Senators and Canucks. So there you go. I like Ottawa team total over and over by Fecta in this game, but more so to the full game over, but that Ottawa team total over as well. I don't think there's a letdown. I think they know they got to keep the pedal to the metal. Vancouver's a beatable team. So Ottawa team total over and over by Fecta for me. Perlo, what are you liking here?
I forgot one thing with the Rangers game. Rangers I think they won 11 straight over first period. So I'm going to take that over first period and 1-1 exact score. I really like that 1-1 exact score.
Is it really 11 straight? How did I not know that? I guess I didn't keep up
that.
With that.
I think it was something like that. But I'm with you about the Senators team total over and the over for the game. I think this will be a pretty loose game. I don't think the Canucks will get a lot of them though. So give me the team total over on that. And for my best bet, did I say I'm going to take the Blue Jackets for my best bet money line. Blue Jackets first period money line. That'll be my best bet. And
first period money. It's just the first period specifically, right?
First period money line. Yeah, that'll be my best bet. And for the bargain bin, I'm going to take that 1-1. Philadelphia and New York Rangers in the first period. And I'm going to take Fogue Daddy. I'm going to take Fogue Daddy to get a goal there for Ottawa. So that's
there you go. Warren Fogle for Ottawa. Yeah, and of course he scored in over the weekend against Seattle in that very impressive blowout win against the Kraken. So there you go. Warren Fogle and that 1-1 correct score with the first period Rangers and Flyers for Perlo. And his best bet is Columbus first period money line against Los Angeles. All right, Perlo.
See you tonight at 9:30 Eastern. Go follow me up there. Of course, at Perlo's House of Exotic NHL Picks Frolic. And thanks for having me on. It's always fun to do this, man. Take care.
There you go. Perlo has got somewhere to be, so we let him loose early today. So thanks to Perlo. He'll be back Wednesday, of course, as usual. All right, let's go back. Well, I wanted to wrap up Utah-Chicago. I will live bet Utah if they fall behind in this game. If they fall behind, I just don't want to bet them pregame at a price like this. Now, this is they're facing Chicago again for the first time since, remember, they had that brutal no-show against Chicago at home, and Tourigny called them out. We've talked about that incident a lot, where he called them out after that, terrible game, that terrible effort against the Chicago Blackhawks on home ice. So it is revenge here for Utah. At the same time, usually in these great road trips, when you've won every game and it's the last game, sometimes complacency can set in. You get a little excited about going home. So that's why for me, while I'm interested in Utah, I'm going to wait, see if they fall behind. Maybe there's a little burst early from Chicago and then Utah comes back later. So I'm going to play Utah live if they fall behind at a plus price. That's going to be my intention here when it comes to this Mammoth and Blackhawks game. As far as props here for Utah and Chicago, I'm going to go back to Carcone. We have to. 2 straight games with a goal. This is a guy that was beyond streaky the last couple seasons. This is a guy that's put together 4, 5, 6 game goal scoring streaks in the past. Now he's gone back-to-back games with a goal. So I like it. Michael Carcone, he's a streaky son of a gun for the Utah Mammoth. So that's a goal prop on their side. I'm interested in Krause and Gunther probably as well for the Utah side. For Chicago, he tied the game against Dallas, and people are always saying with him, shoot the puck. And right now, you're seeing him shoot the puck more. 6 of the last 10 games now, he has scored a goal for the Blackhawks. Connor Bedard, of course. Again, the prices aren't great, but you're definitely seeing him chip in and make it happen right now for this team offensively. So that's definitely something to roll with here if you're looking for Chicago. Connor Bedard. Green is still on that top line. He's been pretty quiet lately. I'm probably going to wait, see if he ends up coming, getting things rolling here as far as offense before I start betting a goal prop with him. That's for sure. Look, Alex is in the chat. He says Frank Nazar, something to consider here as far as Chicago finding the back of the net. Yeah, and as we talked about with Perlo, Ottawa, Vancouver, -220, road favorites. The Sens, 6.5, the total. I like Ottawa team total over 3.5. I know Lankinen is in net for Vancouver, and he actually played one of his better games against Winnipeg. Really, really strong he was. He's the reason that game got to overtime against the Jets on Saturday night. But putting back-to-back good games together, I don't really trust him to do that for this Vancouver Canucks team. This is Ottawa now. The team totals over 3.5 at -126 at Pinnacle. It's a good enough price for me. I think Ottawa can get 4 goals. I think Vancouver will chip in some, though. James Reimer is starting for Ottawa. They're giving Lena Solmark a rest here tonight. He's not going to start. And James Reimer hasn't played in a while for this team. And it certainly hasn't played since the Olympic break ended. So, again, we question whether he's going to be at his absolute best here going into this game tonight for the Ottawa Senators. But it is James Reimer for the Sens. So I think Vancouver might be able to chip in a little offense here in this game tonight as well. So I like the over by Fecta, and I'm also on that Ottawa team total here over 3.5 tonight. Jake Sanderson, by the way, he is out for the Ottawa Senators tonight. Of course, he got injured on Saturday against Seattle, sustained this upper body injury, and he's a big loss. Now, Nicholas Montempalo is the guy that's going to enter the lineup. Thomas Chabot's the guy that's going to get a lot more run on the blue line now moving forward for the Ottawa Senators. So he becomes the player prop target for sure for the Ottawa Senators moving forward. He's going to get a lot more of the minutes, a lot more of the ice time here for the Ottawa Senators on the back end moving forward. Game time decision for Brock Besser. He left the morning skate early for Vancouver, and right now they've got him listed as a game time decision here for this game. And the fact that this is a team that's going nowhere, it's not like they're in a rush to put him in the lineup if he's even feeling any sort of issues. So the fact that was left the ice early and is being called a game time decision, I'm not saying for sure he's not playing, but it kind of has me leaning toward that he's not playing here for the Vancouver Canucks tonight. Evander Kane is also a game time decision here for Vancouver. As far as props for them, I mean, Höglander with Pettersson and DeBrusk, there's still some value with Höglander. I did mention Liam Öhgren going into the game against Winnipeg now that he's been moved up to the top 6, and he scored one of their 2 goals against Winnipeg on Saturday. So maybe it's a Liam Öhgren night here for the Vancouver Canucks, and I don't mind going back to the well with him as far as goal props. Obviously, for Ottawa, we got to keep rolling with Dylan Cousins. Now, the prices aren't bargain bin for him, but still, you can get up to plus 240 for Dylan Cousins to score for Ottawa. He scored in 4 straight games. Perlo mentioned Warren Fogle. I don't mind it at plus 500. He scored in his Sens debut. So Warren Fogle for Ottawa. I like that. So those are some of the props I'd be looking at there. Öhgren, Fogle, Cousins, Pinto. Give me Pinto, too. Shane Pinto. Shane Pinto is streaky, too. Couldn't buy a goal, and now all of a sudden back-to-back games with a goal for Parlay Pinto for the Ottawa Senators. So I'll look at a goal prop for him tonight as well. Great stuff. Shout out to everyone. Hit the like button. We appreciate it very much. WizardSportsPicks.com. Check out the website. Number 1 ranked in both NHL and college basketball this season at WizardSportsPicks.com. It's been a great run in both sports. NBA has been profitable as well. March Madness is right upon us. Conference tournament week, NCAA tournament next week. Tons of NHL and NBA still on a daily basis. MLB right around the corner. So make sure you check out the website. Daily premium picks and long-term 3-day, 7-day, 30-day, 1-year all sports passes available. Check it out, wizardsportspicks.com. And, of course, patreon.com/iceguys, $10 per month. Goalie charts, totals charts, daily betting cards, sides, totals, player props posted each and every day on the website. If you're a Patreon Ice Guys member, I've currently posted a link to my Dub Club All Sports subscription service, which I am discounting $50 off a monthly subscription to all of you, just as a way to acknowledge you for your support of the show. That's available on the Patreon page as well. And boy, was it a great weekend in all sports, especially college basketball. College basketball was tremendous this weekend. Hopefully it's a sign of things to come, and we can keep it going the rest of conference tournament week and next week in the NCAA tournament as well. So all of that and more on the Patreon page as a member. The best $10 you'll spend. And again, your membership goes a long way to supporting the show and keeping it going long term. So check it out and get on board. $10 per month. Patreon.com/IceGuys. And of course, the Ice Guys store. Make sure you check out all the great gear, all the great merchandise available at the Ice Guys store. Remember, the weather's starting to warm up, so t-shirt season, a ball cap season, you name it. It's that time of year with the weather warming up. So check out the great gear and merch at the Ice Guys store. That's at iceguys.myspreadshop.com. All right, bargain bin special of the night and best bet coming up right after we hear from our great Ice Guys sponsors.
Wizard Sports Picks, featuring the finest handicappers in the universe. Sharp insights, trusted picks, and relentless results. We strive to help you become consistent winners. This is Wizard Sports Picks.
All right, it is bargain bin special of the night for this Monday. Perlo gave you his already. Warren Fogle for Ottawa, a goal prop, and he gave you a first period correct score prop. Flyers Rangers 1-1 correct score first period. So a very unique bargain bin special for Perlo with his second one. Alex just dropped his in the chat. Frank Nazar, Chicago, first goal plus 2,200. So there it is. Frank Nazar, Chicago, first goal plus 2,200 for Alex with his Monday bargain bin special of the night. My bargain bin special of the night, let me just see. No. The other one I was considering was Pinto. He's not bargain bin material, so we're not going to be able to use him. He's only plus 280, but it's a great prop. I like Pinto there. So I'm going to stick with just one here tonight. Michael Carcone for Utah, plus 440. Streaky score, multiple games with a goal entering tonight's game against Chicago. And I think he's got a chance to keep the goal-scoring streak going for the Mammoth, who are playing some real good hockey on this road trip, and their offense is starting to come to life, including Michael Carcone's offense. So we'll go with that. Michael Carcone, the streak goal scorer for the Utah Mammoth, plus 440 for my bargain bin special of the night for this Monday. All right, best bet. We're going to go to the late game, Ottawa, Vancouver. I got 6 on this total. The 6s are pretty much gone. I don't think there's a single 6 available anymore. No, there is not. So it's going to be over 6.5 minus 1. Actually, plus 100. There's even money out there. So over 6.5 plus 100. Ottawa, Vancouver. Oh, yeah, it's on Monday. It's only on Prime. It's your Amazon Prime Monday Night Hockey game as well, this Ottawa-Vancouver game. I think Ottawa gets theirs, and I think Vancouver gets enough. And we also have some strong over-series history. I forgot to mention that when we were talking about this game. 8-1-1 to the over in the last 10 meetings with the Senators and Canucks. 8-1-1 over run in the last 10 meetings between these two teams. So I look for that to continue tonight. So Ottawa, Vancouver, over 6.5 plus 100 for my best bet here for this Monday night. All right, shout out to everyone. Appreciate it. Thanks for tuning in. Hit the like button. A big card tomorrow. Very much looking forward to it on Tuesday. Alex will be back most likely, and Matt Robinson, of course, in the house as he is on Tuesdays. Looking forward to tomorrow's show. A reminder, the Ice Guys is live 7 days a week, Monday to Friday, 2 p.m. Eastern, Saturday, Sunday, noon Eastern. If you can't watch the show live, download the Ice Guys podcast in audio form on all major podcast platforms: Google Podcasts, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Stitcher, iHeartRadio, Amazon Music, and more. Download the Ice Guys podcast when you can't watch the show live. For Perlo, who joined us earlier, I'm Ian Cameron. Have a great Monday. Enjoy the games and good luck. And we will be back with you tomorrow on Tuesday, 2 p.m. Eastern, for another edition of the Ice Guys.